Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Technology Show, where our experts translate geek into regular speak. How do you feel about mixed reality versus virtual reality? And what are your thoughts? Gadgets or games? And where exactly are you on the battlefield of Windows versus Apple? Stay tuned for our special geek guests. And now, it's over to our Techsperts.
Yo, it's time for the Techknowledgy Show, where we translate geek
into regular speak.
Nearly every week. It feels like it needs to say that.
Almost every week.
There we go.
Yeah.
Almost every week. I'm Brett Levy, and with me, as always, Aryeh Sternberg. What's crack-a-lackin'?
I'm going to keep reporting on my plank challenge because I think everyone should have a stronger core. Broken the 200-second mark. Yes, that deserved a bell. No, look, it's exciting time. Spring is in the air. We've got flowers. We've got rain.
Can you tell the weather that? I was going to say this weather's...
Yeah.
Mind you saying it's normal, so...
I don't know. Daylight savings coming up soon.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's the first Sunday, right?
I think
the first
so.
Sunday of October.
Yeah.
Cam, do you know? First Sunday of October is daylight, isn't it? I think so. Oh, well, we'll find out soon. So, should we just get straight into it?
Right into it.
Okay. Now, the company that has put this app together has also featured on the App of the Week before. And this week, the app is Monopoly, not the board game Monopoly, by McDonald's. So, Monopoly by Macca's.
Monopoly
their
by
version.
Macca's.
It is the board game. But, wow. I just have to say, I don't know if it's VML that still does the design. We met with the guys, and I know they worked on their digital point of sale on that.
Yeah.
But in all the years that I've been playing with apps and building apps and measuring and judging apps, I have to say that the UI and the UX on this app is just in a league of its own.
Again, the reason why we choose apps for App of the Week is because of many reasons: the simplicity, the quality of the build, the stability of the build, and what it does, right? So from all of those point of view, the experience that you get from a user side of things is awesome. And there is something else that we will talk about in a little bit, but please continue.
Thank you, kind sir. So yes. I don't eat a lot of McDonald's. I have a 12-year-old, so we do buy a lot of McDonald's. But I have to say that if you haven't played the Monopoly app, you have to know the Monopoly ball game. So that I just have to take as a given, right? They've built the whole board game. You get these little stickers which you scan. So you have to buy like certain meals. You get these stickers, you scan it, and then you get property like you do in the game, and you get chance cards and rewards. And it's first of all, it's about instant gratification. The whole experience of the app is gratifying. You see the little ball roll that you have to shake the phone. There's haptics. Haptics is feedback. If you don't know that by now, you definitely haven't been listening to our show. Then you watch your prize appear on the board. You can turn it around. You can zoom in. You can zoom out. The little things in the middle of the board all interact. And I think it was you, Aryeh, that showed me there's actually a treasure chest, the community chest from Monopoly. Yep. It lit up. I didn't even notice that before. And you touch and open, and there's a crane. And you pull out a chance card. It's just an incredible... I actually want to go and buy McDonald's so that I can get a sticker, like the entry code, so that I can actually play the game, that little board game.
Totally. I mean, if I ate McDonald's more, and I had my first McDonald's in over a year, last Tuesday was International Cheeseburger Day.
Cheeseburger. I'm actually bleak about that because you told me about that after the fact. I didn't come and have one with you.
I gotta, and Macca's in Australia, and interesting fact, I'm not sure if we spoke about this, but Australia is the only market in the world where McDonald's has allowed their brand name to change.
Yes,
so
that's
Macca's,
right?
The only market in the world. Now
it is still McDonald's, but you're allowed to call it Macca's, and they've registered.
It is.
Macca's.
It's registered Macca's,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So the integration between online to offline across their digital assets, right? You get extra bonus points if you buy, You can get extra, what is it, spins, or is it?
I think it's a chance card, and then it has 2 or 3 versions of chance.
Exactly.
But you get something, and you 1 out of 5 winner, and
so you got the community chest. You got the if you go and order and you redeem it, you can go to the My Macca's app, and it gets you to actually download that. And so they're really just pushing across their ecosystem. And from a marketing perspective, it's genius. And as Brett mentioned before, they got the kids hooked. The prizes on there are equally enticing for adults and for kids.
Definitely.
Yep.
So, look. There's actually another feature in there I think that you really like as well. I'm not a huge Snapchat user, but in the middle of the island, they've actually got a Snapchat filter.
Yep.
And you can only get that filter by going through the app, right? You've used it.
I just did.
Actually, just show me now again.
Yeah.
I need a laugh. You can try that for your plank challenge. That's actually an oxymoron, right? Call fit plank challenge, but eating McDonald's. The two go together. What was that documentary? Like something about you are what you eat. Super Size Me. Do you remember that? That guy lived on McDonald's for a year, a month or whatever.
Absolutely horrible.
Anyway, we are talking about the app of the week, and I have to give it a 5 out of 5. I cannot. Sorry, it's just take a screenshot and share that with me later. I can maybe put that up for the shows for Evercon. I have to give it a 5 out of 5. I cannot fault the app. I looked for things. The flow, it was logical. The one ticket that Cade got didn't scan, but there's a manual input. It's 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I only because I think people should not be eating McDonald's that much.
No, it's a treat. You should eat it every day. No, but we're talking about the app now, hey?
Yeah.
So you can go buy coffee from McDonald's and play Monopoly.
Yeah, it's equally awesome across Android and iOS. I think
that's also true. I forgot to mention the experience on both is the same.
Yeah. Need another app. My only gripe is it's another app.
I see what you're saying.
I would like to be built into the My Macca's app, turn it on, turn it off, download the upgrade. And it would also give them an avenue to kind of like slot in opportunities. And maybe it's a chat with the VML.
I might have to throw Apple under the bus. I think that Apple doesn't allow more than 5 SDKs. And that already has a ton.
Yeah.
It's got scan and camera. It's got Snap, which is an SDK. I think they actually limited as to how many SDKs they can have in their apps. I don't know if that's changed, but I remember when we were building apps, we had that limitation issue. So that would be the reason for the separate app. And then also, you don't have to be a McDonald's customer and go through the setting up of the McDonald's app and the credit card and that to play Monopoly.
Yep.
So I think that was the other. But there is a connection between the two. If you've got a prize in there, I think you can send it through your Macca's app to redeem it.
Yeah.
So it's not I don't think it's the agency's fault. I think it's or the strategy fault. I think it's actually a tech limitation.
Yeah. So just anyone who's listening who's interested in doing a bit of a calorie count for the healthiness of Australia, you have 133,000 bacon or sausage egg McMuffins, 184,000 Big Mac or McChickens that have been claimed. And then another 180,000 quarter pounders of McChickens, 357,000 cheeseburgers or sausage McMuffins, 615,000 small Sundays or apple pies.
Is that just on this current campaign?
Just on this current campaign. And a whopping 1.2 million small fries or fruit bags. So,
wow. So that's a successful app, right? Look.
Poor Australia. Poor Australia. Yes, it's successful.
Look, we don't have the Super Size Me
Absolutely.
like we do in the States, so that at least we've got rid of that.
It's that time of the week.
Oh, you tease.
We've only had a week off, so I am still excited. I'm not as excited as the hiatus we had last time. There is going to be a break coming up, and I am going to miss it. But right now, it's time for what?
The A and B split test.
It's the A and B split test.
Nice.
Excellent.
So we translate geek into regular speak. And we always try and bring our clients and what we're doing in our daily lives into this as well. So at least there's validity. And it became quite apparent that there's a very clear distinction and maybe not an understanding between inbound and outbound marketing. digital specific marketing.
Yeah, well, I think even a step back from that, you are receiving notifications, you are receiving things in whatever inbox of different types you have.
Yep.
And, you've either asked for it or you haven't.
Yep.
Right.
And that's probably quite important for what these two technologies do. So I think let's start off with the definition with inbound and outbound. Inbound, like it would suggest, is all information coming in to you. Now, inbound marketing are for people that generally put out big surveys or request big calls to action, big competitions, things like that, where you fill out a form or you have to text or send an email or do some form of action, but in mass. And all of that information comes in to the company or the marketing agency, and their job is then to process it and start turning it into potential lead generations, client acquisitions, etc. The obvious then is that outbound is the other way. However, it's not as simple and clean cut. I always talk about and use a software suite called HubSpot, which I don't know, you could classify it maybe as outbound. The idea is that you're sending messages from yourself out, but you need to actually focus a little bit more one-on-one.
Well, HubSpot facilitates both, but
it actually does facilitate both.
It facilitates both, but it's really
bad
much more,
example.
It's much more of an inbound marketing tool because someone's requested information,
and then it comes in.
You're engaging.
But when you see it actually as a terrible example because it's both in the sense that you have to respond to it, but you have to respond to it personally.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the inboxes.
Yeah.
This is where personal interaction comes into it.
The flip side is, and this is where things start getting great, outbound is the opposite, which is interruptive marketing.
Yes.
So in traditional sense, TV, radio, print, you open a magazine and there's an ad. That's something that is outbound. It's meant to grab your attention. In the information age, we are using data to actually sort of interrupt your daily routine.
Yes.
Throwing those sponsored ads. So on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anyone who's on Instagram, you probably have looked at your Instagram feed and said, there are some ads coming in that for some reason seem really relevant to me.
I'm loving this bell.
It's outbound in the sense that it's interruptive. You haven't asked for that.
Yep.
But the difference between TV and what you're seeing in Instagram or Facebook is you've shown some sign of interest, or there's something about you. It could be your age, your gender, your things you've looked at, things you've liked that has said, this is something that I might be interested in. You haven't completely raised your hand and said, I want that, but they're taking a guess. They're taking a punt, and that's how it works.
So why would companies choose to put an inbound or an outbound strategy? I mean, let's if we had to really dumb it down, it's not everything that every company would use, but they actually are doing it, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Every single time you interact with someone, it's either inbound or outbound. You're trying to do something and or receive something. What are the pitfalls? I mean, you were talking about when we started the segment of the inboxes, and those are personal things. Mm-hmm. So, if you're going to be pushing messages and communication to people, you need to make sure you have a personal relationship with them. GDPR aside, it's their personal space.
Yep.
Do you want to put your brand in the light of, oh God, they're bugging me again?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And I think this is part of the challenge is I don't know how long we're going to see this. I think that there is an end to spam. There will be an end to spam,
yep.
Right? But I've got messages on my phone. I'm even getting calls, from some random person. Right?
I was about to say, you're talking about calls.
Yeah.
There's a great example of inbound and outbound.
Yeah.
The people sitting phoning you are actually outbound marketers.
Yeah.
They bugging you. That you didn't ask them to.
No, unless I've asked for it.
But then when you call in, it's inbound.
That's inbound, exactly.
So it's words that get bantered around, and it's like people might go, oh, well, that's pretty obvious. But it's actually not, because from a strategy point of view, you've got to be very, very clear on what you want to do with these two types of tech. There's room for both, right? And that would probably give you the full circle.
Yeah.
But the reason why we probably wanted to chat about it today, as I said, besides the fact that it's quite a fresh topic with one of our clients, data protection and data privacy are coming. to Australia. We might, we've heard a lot of people say, oh, well, GDPR isn't here yet. Remember yesterday, someone actually said that to me. So, well, it's not here yet when we were at that meeting. I was like, that's not the right attitude. There are European citizens here.
Not only that,
they covered.
How about respecting the privacy? Or,
besides that, because that wasn't clear for what they wanted anyway.
That had nothing to do with the conversation.
But the fact is, there are Europe. Come sit on the train with me from Central to Bondi. There's lots of European citizens,
certainly,
and they covered globally. So
So inbound people, you are the customer. You're asking for information. Yes. Outbound, I am taking my information and throwing it at you. Yeah,
perfect. It was a very different A and B split for us.
It is. Do you have a seat? Do you have a position? Which is better?
I personally prefer inbound.
Yeah.
Purely because I've done my work and I've planted the seeds to get people to engage with me.
Yep.
And then they do if they choose to.
Now, the only other one I'll throw on, because I know we've got to move on to the next segment, is as a consumer, you should be asking yourself, what is the value of your personal information and what information you're giving?
That's a very, very interesting. That's a great one.
Because you've got your Facebook account, you've got your Google login, you've got your email, you've got your phone number. And some would argue that everything else you can shut off. Your phone number is going to go with you. To change your phone number takes a lot of work. And it's not quite as hard as it used to be in the olden days when we only had a phone.
Yeah.
But we really don't want to change our phone number. No. We'll port it over to another platform. We'll change it from Optus to Telstra or whatever. But that's value. Yep. And if someone's not giving you a measurable value for your phone number, think twice about giving it to them.
And in fact, there's agencies that are popping up now that are actually rewarding you. Things like things like surveys.
Yeah.
Take a survey, get 5 points if it's a point system, or like Flybars or whatever.
Yeah.
Or get a $5 gift card for Amazon if you complete the survey. People have realized that your data, your opinion, and your information is valuable because they're going to sell that on to their clients so that they can market back to you because you told them they can.
That's it.
So it's a circle. So inbound and outbound's actually roundabout.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Roundabout. Anyway, but yeah, A and B split. My position though, inbound.
Mm-hmm.
Are we there? Both of us.
That's it. Inbound.
Done. Boom. A and B. It is time for tech news with a Z.
Zzz.
And a ping. Oh, no, I held the bell. Oh, there we go. We got a little bell here on the stew. That's
excellent.
Fun. What you got on tech news with a ZZ?
Well, I think starting off, there is a popular perfume scent which unexpectedly reverses baldness.
What? Every man in the world would buy that.
That's why. Yeah. Well, it happens somewhere somehow. That's where.
Yeah, you like wake up one morning and it's just not there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how, is this real? Like they've done the test and they're selling the stuff now, or?
No. It's just in the study. Yeah. It was like a byproduct. It was like, wait a minute, why?
It sounds like an ICO, right? People are going to start investing crazily now.
No. Synthetic sandalwood, which is known as sock drawer potpourri, has shown that for whatever reason, it's caused hair growth in men.
That's weird. That caffeine has also been attributed. You even get these shampoos with proper caffeine in it.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to also, I don't know, the human body, man. It's a weird thing. That's why we focus on tech and not anatomy and science. I have only one thing about tech news because we could actually talk about this for an hour. We could talk about this literally for days. China's good citizen credit system. Okay. All I have to say is what if.
So this isn't new. It's been around for a while, but it's now like the world's realizing.
Well, we have to give a shout out to Eduardo. I mean, I know you follow this, and I know you follow all of the Asian stuff. But Eduardo, who's just joined our company, shout out Eduardo. He sent this link, and it was actually under the heading of Black Mirror in real life or something. So that intrigued me, right? Dude, just tell the listeners what this is. And as I said, what did he F?
Social credit, okay?
But it doesn't sound like such a bad thing until you explain.
No, so there's two parts to it. One is the public shaming that happens.
Yep.
So an example, you jaywalk across the street, you get caught on a camera, you get identified using facial recognition.
And I think that's the important thing is there are cameras
automatic everywhere, right? Because it's, that's the state of the union there. Your name goes on a billboard and you get publicly shamed, and you actually have points that are removed from your record. And if you don't have enough points, you cannot get on buses. You cannot buy plane tickets. So it becomes this thing where the state suddenly has control over your behavior.
Not only control your behavior, but just can make you... First, okay, let's take a couple of steps back. We're talking about the biggest population in the world. There's 1.4 billion people living inside China. Okay, these people are generally good, law-abiding, stick to themselves, don't get up to too much shit kind of people. They do what they need to do, and like we all do in our lives. Now let's move to Australia. We drive badly, we hold our phone, whatever, we get a fine, and we get 3 demerit points, which we can get back in 3 months.
People use the C word.
The implication of the social credit score, because I think you start off with 900 points or 800 points in some regions. Let's say you jaywalk. That's actually a great example, because I actually read that in the article. I think it's 150 points. So you've gone from 800 to 150. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot to us Aussies here. Well, I've got 12 points. I can lose 3. It's great. You cannot get onto a bus if you don't have those 150 points.
Yep.
That's where it starts. So now you're in a country where you need public transport and you can't use it. Now you lose another 150 points because you swear at the person for telling you that you can't get on the bus. You now don't get credit at a bank, and your bank fees go up. So basically what they're doing is they're saying, if you behave badly and we need to put in sick, according to us, not necessarily society, we will literally make you insignificant.
Yep.
We will remove your credit, and not just the financial sense of the word. Your kids won't get into university. You cannot get on a bus. You cannot get a loan. You can't eat in a restaurant. You can't make a booking. This is scary. The fact that it's real. This is not even just Black Mirror. This is real.
This is happening, and there's so many elements to it you could unpack. But what happens is, what happens when it's not just the state calling you out, but then that turns into violence.
And knowing that people now shun you, right? Your family can't associate with you, because they get a bad credit reflection.
And the question is, who decides this? The government is deciding this. It's not like a popular vote. It's not anything. There's no agreement. It's someone saying this is how it is. And this is the biggest and most powerful country in the world now.
Now, is it correct to refer to it as digital dictatorship? Maybe. I mean, they are a dictator already. It's already a dictatorship.
I think you could call it that.
Because it's machines that are watching you. Yeah, what's going through my head now is the music video for Nickelback. The people are walking. I think the song's called "Saving Me," and they've got this like countdown above their heads. They're running out of time, like literally. And you've got to do a good deed, or you've got to do something, and then your life balance goes up again. There was actually a movie, I think, with Justin Timberlake that you had to get life credits. You see it on your arm. That's probably where they got the idea from. And then if you don't do something, or you don't pay your bills, whatever, they take credit away. And from the age of 25, your credit clock just starts counting down. And you've got to do stuff to get credit back. So you're constantly trying to just be good, just to survive. I mean, the world's hard enough as it is, right? We don't need this shit as well. Wow. So, yeah, Black Mirror in reality, up just north of where we are.
Yeah.
Sure. What you got? A little bit nice dark.
Yeah, get a little bit lighter news. Hundreds of people got tattooed with Domino's pizza logo.
No, man.
In Russia, and then prior to getting cut off, but 381 people tattooed themselves to get Domino's Pizza for life, and it was so popular they had to cut it off.
Mind you, I suppose if you're doing like a sleeve or whatever, right? Just to put it in there.
Yeah.
It's just, oh no, that's not a sleeve, man. That's like I see just the logo within
just the logo
that's cool.
with something. Yeah, but you get a Domino's tattoo and you show up and you get a free pizza a month for life. So, it's an interesting approach to branding. There's nothing really digital about it, but it was promoted digitally, so just think it's kind of funny.
It is funny, though.
Yeah.
I mean, straight away, though, for me, the augmented reality opportunity kicks into that. Because now you've got markers running around on people. So you could go around and have a viral campaign. You're listening, Domino's, scan the tattoo and win instantly. I'm thinking like the Monopoly Makers app here.
Yep.
No, I think that's still tech news with a Z. I honestly don't have any other really. I was floored doing the research for the show when I came across that. Like when Eduardo sent that link through, and I read it, and then I started. It's what I love about the internet. If you buy a newspaper and you read a news article, it ends. You turn the page, it's done. Then you've got also read this, and then you start reading about people committing suicide because they've disgraced their family. I'm going back to the doctors.
Exactly. No,
it's just mad. I stopped there. I was like, whoa.
Well, that's even to date, like in Japan. If you don't get certain scores on your tests,
they land up in a forest somewhere.
Well, they commit suicide. They jump off buildings.
That's mad.
Just a little bit of other tech news, which is really interesting, is a Japanese spacecraft was able to land rovers on an asteroid to collect data. And so a flying asteroid, the Japanese spacecraft dropped drones down onto it, and you've got some pictures showing up on the internet to see. But that's
quite cool.
Historical first. That's pretty cool
though.
Yeah.
But the question though is why? Like, because they can, and it was for you and me to sit here in our radio show talking about it, or
it's a predecessor to mining. So there's tons of resources in the Kuiper Belt, I think it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it.
That asteroid belt.
Yeah. So you get outside the space trash, suddenly there's all this, resources, natural resources, ore. Yeah. And so we're going out there and we've pillaged the Earth, so let's go pillage the asteroids.
Well, at least it makes a clear path for the aliens to finally get through, right? That was our protection belt.
Yeah.
Cool. You anything else in tech news with a Z, or do we wrap that section up?
I've got a segue into other
segue
parts,
away.
But so the only other segue is there is a creepy kitty robot that allows. It's being used to test how people could teleexist.
I don't even know what teleexist is.
So basically. With a VR headset and an omnidirectional walking mechanism.
I like that board, the virus-based board.
Yeah, you can actually get into this child's body, a child robot.
Okay, we need to put a PC
around
on this.
Yeah, it's
that's really weird.
When you see the actual,
would you send me the link and I'll share it up?
Yeah, it's super creepy, and
it sounds worse than your Super Tory doll. What websites do you go to, Sternberg? I mean, you've got some weird stuff that comes through.
Yeah. I think the creepiest one, if you watch the video, is these sort of dead eyes that are looking, and it's because there's a human in it, But last week we talked about that Abe Lincoln animatronic thing. You throw that onto the baby doll or onto a human body or whatever. It's not just VR, but it's VR into the real world.
And that goes to my whole thing about acting, right? Now anyone could be an actor because you condone the body that's required for the script.
It is. And, there's this whole thing about these like weird sex robots that are showing up and creepy.
Ready Player One.
But if you can teleexist into that and you're wearing the haptic suit we spoke about last week.
So the two robots have sex. You can have sex with someone safely without anyone getting pregnant, but you'd feel everything. Is that where we're going with this?
Something like that.
The Techknowledgy show where we have sex with robots every week. No.
Rewind.
But we're a depraved world, man, that we like having to do this stuff.
We're entering a stage of technology and innovation that there's religion no longer plays a role in stopping what is acceptable. You've got governments that are dictating what can and cannot be done. I voted online for my Colorado State thing, and one of the questions was, do you support or not support keeping slavery out of the government.
How does that word actually even
I was like, play? I don't know. But, all these things are changing. I'm like, something's up.
Yeah, that's mad. It's just like, we're just really in a weird, there's that old saying that guns don't kill people, people kill people.
Yeah.
You can't keep sitting here blaming tech. Everyone's talking about singularity and the robots will take over. They won't.
No.
It's us that are making these tools and tech do these evil things, right? Anyway, tech news with a Z.
And now it's time for XR.
X-rated.
Extended reality.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still with the robots that are
we're not
fornicating.
No.
Okay, cool. Where do you want to go first? Do you want to go AR or VR?
I will go VR. I don't have an AR this time. The virtual reality mode in Ace Combat 7, a flying fighter pilot game, is meant to be incredible. Haven't tried it myself, but as we're going into this immersive experience, part of what takes away or adds to the sickness that people feel in VR is when you don't have a matching between the motion happening in the VR space and the immersive space in real life. So if you're sitting in a chair and you're flying a plane, it's a lot easier to actually have experience of racing a car, flying a plane, drive, anything where you're stationary, but you're controlling what happens. When you have control over that, you're not going to get sick. And so this takes that immersive 360 experience of flying a fighter jet and just making it as real as possible.
It's funny you say that. Not funny that you say it. It's a good evolution. But the one little snippet of news that I had was HTC's wireless adapter has finally launched.
Yeah.
We've talked about TP Link before and that.
Yeah. TP Cast?
TP
Cast.
Yeah, Link is TP Cast. The problem that I have with now, why I'm saying it's a good thing, and because if you're moving around inside a plane or feeding the fighter, you don't want to be tethered to a wire. It would restrict. You want to be on one of those like Vivo Space boards, and you want to have the controls. You want to move and feel the movement. The problem that I have though is that I don't know how they got it wrong. You can't just plug in an adapter. You got to put a whole PCI card into your machine. So you got to open your box, put the PCI card in, configure the adapter using a Wi-Fi protocol. Then plug the protocol in, and you pay $300 for the privilege as well. That's a fail, man. I know it's a step in the right way, but rather wait another 6 months and just bring out a headset that's integrated. Or I don't know. I don't know if you agree or disagree. It's exciting because breaking the wires and cutting the cords and that is awesome, but not when you have to do that much work.
Yeah. Also, I was speaking to a VR developer earlier this week, and you're asking a lot from the technology. It's not seamless, and you're likely going to be sacrificing the fidelity and the quality of the experience itself.
So therefore, don't do it, right?
Yeah, and the potential for lag. Which is what gets
two
people
boards.
sick.
That's right. You've got two boards. Now you've got the process, and that's the irony is you spend a fortune on the processor because you can't run VR on machines that are under spec, and then you're just slapping in a PCI board.
Yeah.
So the board has to now speak to the processor.
Yeah.
Anyway,
speaking about getting sick in VR,
robots that have sex. Flying inside children's bodies and getting sick in VR.
Well, no. You nailed it. It's not children's body, it's ducks' bodies. And there is a new VR experience. Get ready, guys. VR Duck Genitalia Explorer.
No.
It's a new VR app for exploring the strange twisting world inside of a duck's vagina.
Wow. Who sat down in a coffee table and said, I've got a great idea. Let's make a VR experience of the inside of a duck's vagina. How? And then you explain that to your design team, and then they do it.
Because you can. You know what? We don't take sides. We don't judge. We just report the news.
I'm judging. It's like, these are weird. These are the people that the government should be watching, right?
Yeah, it's true.
What's their credit score? I'm going to move very, very happily along to a very different far side of the table there was a pun intended there. Watch this. PokerStars VR has just launched. You know, World Series Poker? So you now can play the PokerStars game in VR. So you now sit at the table. So your controllers are your cards in your hands. Unfortunately, I couldn't find all the information, but I'm just going to, from experience, I'm going to take a guess that it's still an avatar-based environment. It's not you. You can't mimic yourself up yet and put yourself in. So you could still be whoever you want to be sitting at the table, but you are now sitting at the table. So if you sit down on your chair, in your lounge or your desk, wherever you are, you really are in scale. You're properly immersed. You're sitting, table height. You can put your arms on the table, hold the controllers. You can have a proper immersed experience.
Yeah.
Well done to them. You know, I'm not advocating for gambling and that, but it's a game. People play. You can play, I think, for real money on PokerStars. I don't know. But you play in VR. You sit at the table in the chair. And then, of course, if you look around, you look around. You're immersed.
Not continue on that route, but Elon Musk announced that the SpaceX will live stream its 2023 moon mission with the Japanese quadrillionaire in VR in real time.
Sure. You know, the thing with him, he makes huge statements, but I must say he does back up a lot of them, right? It's not like he's disappointed. He just has to sidestep every now and then. But that's quite what's the year?
2023.
I mean, that's what, 5 years, 4.5 years?
Yeah.
5 years. Wow.
I don't know if you've seen pictures of this rocket.
I have.
I mean, it looks, what is the BFG is the big effing rocket. So, or the BFR. It's very interesting. Elon Musk, 420. That guy's nuts.
I have one last thing in VR, and it's PlayStation. They get their first MOBA, which is called Dark Eclipse. Now, we translate geek into regular speak. MOBA is Multiplayer Online Battle Arena.
Damn.
So think role-playing, real-time strategy, Dota, League of Legends, Fortnite, all these games that are played in single universes but with multiple players in the real space. That's what VR should be all about. And that's Ready Player One, right? I mean, that's what you see in the movie. It's called Dark Eclipse, and they reckon that at the moment, MOBAs are valued at $25 billion last year, and forecasted to grow to $43 billion. It's almost double. And if you can put VR into that, it smashes it out the park, man.
Yeah.
You know, the hardware cells that support that and that as well. So, well done, PlayStation.
My last bit is in VR, and I've got one MR.
Okay. That's a cool one.
Alaska Airlines is joining the fray and offering VR movies during certain flights.
I'm still not sure if I want to try that.
It's using the Skylight's AlloSky cinematic VR headset. Looks pretty cool. They're offering as a first-class amenity, and right now they're only offering to watch movies, 2D movies in VR.
You can finally join the Mile High Club. You can do it in VR on your first class. Well, if it's first class, you've got a private little room. So there we go, right?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I have one last one, which is AR, before you get into MR. Involve AR coloring books. So it's called Involve. And what it is it's actually a Kickstarter project. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. The idea is that you know these adult coloring books where you draw on your smartphone and that, but then once you've finished coloring the flat picture, using AR you can actually see it in full 3D, like a 3D object in front of you. So it basically builds up what you've colored and displays it in front of you. It's novel. It's not going to change the world. I hope they make it. I mean, it's just something a little bit different, and I said it's on Kickstarter. It's called Involve. That's me.
The only one is XR, Microsoft. So, and Skype.
Microsoft and Skype. Using HoloLens, right?
Using HoloLens.
Makes 100% sense.
It does.
Maybe
and I
they'll
think
finally get Skype right again.
Yeah, and it's really just trying to address the fact that when you do
if you do,
yeah. or you do and it smells bad. No, when you do multi-person chatting, and you're trying to get a business call in, and everyone's either scrunched in front of a camera, or you have one of those Logitech cameras or whatever ones that Cisco ones, right? That intelligently go around. Incredibly expensive. Now the $5,000 headset, which is what HoloLens costs, doesn't make it any cheaper.
No, but there are cheaper ones than that. Doesn't Acer make a much cheaper? Not Acer. Yeah, it was Acer.
So those are the VR headsets, but the HoloLens ones, which are the original, the ones you can actually see what's around you.
There goes a fail, man. $5,000.
It is
each person.
Yeah, but it's laying out the future of being able to holographically put someone in space. Think about Kingsman movie. When they're all sitting at the table and you can see each other at the table, and that's kind of where we're trying to get to.
You know as well as I do. In 2 years from now, it's $599 for the headset, right? So the fact that they're doing it is awesome. I'm not going to kick them in the teeth for it. I must say I'm very impressed with the HoloLens technology, but yeah, $5,000. It's not going to be for us. We're not going to be having holographic meetings to start.
Not for a little while.
Not yet. So let's wrap up. That was XR.
Wrap it.
Done. So we've got to that time of the show again.
It's that time.
It is that time where we have the guest of the week. We didn't have a guest of the week last week,
did we?
Not.
We
didn't.
Not.
Sean, we have to introduce him first, but he's our first guest in our new studio.
That's it.
We have Sean Riley, who is the CEO of BlueRobot, joining us on Skype from London, I think. Where are you, Sean?
I'm actually in Cape Town today, but it's good to be with you
Cape Town today. There we go.
Wow.
How's Cape Town, man?
Cape Town's good. We had a day of summer, but we'll take all the rain we can get, so no complaints.
That's awesome. I just lost my... Oh, there we are. I'm back. Sean, so just for the listeners' point of view, because we often do bring our work worlds into our fun podcast worlds, we actually work with you on BlueRobot, and we thought it'd be great to give the tech a punt, and obviously... no better than the guy that actually put it all together to explain it, because maybe that's why we're not doing as well as you and we're not in Cape Town, because we don't know what you know. So give us a quick intro as to what BlueRobot is all about.
Yeah, well, I think, to sum it up, BlueRobot is all about...
Did I put you on the spot? You see, you're in Cape Town now. All of a sudden, you've gone into slow mode, right?
On the beach and everything out of...
Cape Town mode early in the morning, yeah. So I guess BlueRobot, we believe that when you combine technology and soul, great things happen. And what we do is we help brands leverage social APIs across most social platforms to delight and entertain their customers. And, our experiences really range from, we have quite a heavy load of experiences across Twitter. So, for example, a user action on Twitter can trigger an event. So, for example, liking a tweet, retweeting a tweet can, for example, subscribe a user to serialized content. And that's quite those are pretty popular experiences that we power for brands around the globe. And the impact is pretty measurable. And then, of course, we do work on Pinterest, on Twitch, on Spotify, and then we also have a very, very big focus on chatbots across both Facebook, Messenger, and Twitter.
Nice. So one of the pins that we have on the show is we translate geek into regular speak. I think the reason I wanted to get you on the show as well is specifically around the chatbot side. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because, as you know, Aryeh and I are huge fans of Twitter, but Twitter's just not a network that Australians go for whatever reason.
Sure.
But the chatbot side of it obviously is. I mean, that's something that goes across the entire world. Can you take us through... let's actually look at the why you should have a chatbot, because I mean that's a great place to start. I think people know what a chatbot is; they've engaged with chatbots, but people don't, or brands maybe still don't really understand why and that value, and that's what I wanted to chat to you about today.
Well, I guess the most important why for me is really that chat is a pervasive part of our everyday lives. We communicate with our friends and family on WhatsApp more than any other tool. So chat is intuitive. It's non-threatening to people of all ages. And so, we have just seen that when you take that chat experience and start delivering brand utility to a user via chat instead of through a browser or an app, the user adoption is significantly higher.
Right.
Just add on to that, I think also, Sean, is the accessibility and the availability. When you move from chat, from voice to chat, you put the control of the conversation into the user's hands, and when you automate that using an AI engine or bot on the back end, the user gets to sort of dictate how, when, where, and what they're using to have that conversation.
Absolutely. I think another, one stat that really stands out is that, 92% of all apps that we install are never opened. So, as great as an app could be to solve a brand's problem, it's just another piece of noise in the user's life. Whereas, as you say, chat is there. It's accessible through many platforms. It doesn't have to be Twitter. And it's something that users can use when they choose to. And
I think we've spoken about it offline, or actually it was online, but it was off air. Where do you see what's been happening with the likes of, you mentioned WhatsApp before, but these sort of massive platforms that are young but pervasive? In China, WeChat. In Korea, I believe it's Line. You've got, we mentioned WhatsApp, but chat and text is absolutely, undeniably integrated into how we communicate today.
Yeah, quite right. And I mean, I think WeChat's kind of ahead of the game already in terms of opening up their APIs for chatbots. And WhatsApp, as we've seen recently, has slowly but surely started to bring a few partners on board. So, I mean, they're recognizing that the next step is to give their user base access to businesses that they interact with.
Sean, just a quick question. You've opened it up nicely for me when you talk about businesses interacting. When we speak to people about chatbots, they have this perception of this canned thing that sits on a website that goes, "How can I help you?" And you type a message and it says, "Oh, that's nice. I'll get someone to call you." And that unfortunately is a reality. I mean, you see it all over. And then you get live chat when you've got someone sitting somewhere else in the world, probably like in India or so in a call center, that will take you down a bit further and then still say, "Okay, we'll have to get someone to call you." What makes BlueRobot the super sexy, magical thing that it is? I mean, some of the gamification, if you can take us through those. People obviously can't see, and I'll put links up when I do the post, but what is it that, BlueRobot does do it different? That's why we're speaking.
Sure. Well, unlike most tech companies who would, I guess, elaborate, how proprietary and unique their technology is, we try not to do that. We have got some pretty unique elements within our tech, but we actually believe that it's the combination of humans and the tech that brings a great messaging experience to life. And I guess we've now built over 250 chatbots for various brands around the world, and we encounter a lot of big corporates that we approach, and they'll say, "Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming to see us, but we have an AI and chatbot team." And 2 years later, they still don't have a chatbot. So, technology on its own, can't solve the problem. I guess it's an understanding of what works, what doesn't work. And I would say that what positions BlueRobot uniquely now is that we've cut our teeth and we have that experience of how to put together a chatbot that's effective.
Awesome. And I think most importantly is that you do everything yourselves. I think that's something that a lot of companies get wrong. We've had people come to us and say, "Oh, we've got a company that does X. Can your tech talk to it?" Because their company can't do everything, right? They just don't have that ability. So, I mean, by focusing on what you're doing, and you've built everything yourselves, which probably also helps with speed to market, right?
Yeah. Look, and in terms of the AI component, which that's probably worth a whole discussion on its own. So first of all, it's probably worth mentioning that a lot of our chatbots actually don't use AI at all, because you're actually able to solve a lot of problems with pre-configured replies. So the user doesn't even have to type; they just have to click on a quick reply, which is supported by Facebook and Twitter. So you can take a user through quite a complex journey without them ever typing anything. And that doesn't require a lot of AI. And then obviously natural language and understanding and so on is where AI really comes into its own. But we use Google's AI engine, but then we've added to that, and we've enhanced it in a few ways that we believe gives brands an advantage.
And do you think that, there's no question that the AI assistants will, continue to gain in intelligence and predictive capability. Do you think there will come a time when we simply don't actually have to do anything and we let the AIs talk to each other and just kind of take care of our business for us?
I hope
That's
not.
scary. Have you been watching Westworld?
Yeah, we believe that, so take customer support as a very obvious example for messaging and chatbots, and we believe that AI doesn't replace the human being. It allows your people to focus on the 20% of clients that really need help, and the other 80% of high volume, predictable inquiries can be automatically serviced.
Yeah.
I've actually got a personal example recently, and I'm busy pitching them right now. So Virgin Media in the UK, I'm a pre-existing client. I use their broadband, and it took me an hour and 7 minutes of live chat with a human being to add on Sky Sports HD. And
that shouldn't happen in this modern world.
No.
No, that is a great example where they already know who I am. Two-factor authentication with a text message can validate that I'm the account holder. I get a few pre-configured options of what I can do on my account, and it should take 1 to 2 minutes max. In fact, that experience, I've got screenshots of it. The customer support agent was arguing with me about why I want HD. I just couldn't get over it. So anyway, it's just, I think that, especially businesses with customer support at scale, maintaining a certain standard for your brand is hard. And, when you have 1,000 humans providing support, and I really believe that is one of the sweet spots of chatbots. Yeah,
that's actually a great example, and especially what you've done is also bring in the fact that it really is a personal example. We've all had that, Sean. I mean, I with the telcos, what I've done now, I'm not going to name and shame, but if I want to speak to my service provider, I go into their retail store because they've got telephones that are hardwired into a different division. Like if I phone, you're number 3087 in the queue and you listen to that 8-bit music stuff. I walk into a store and I tell the guy to pick up his little portable and dial the number, and within 5 minutes I'm speaking to someone. And there clearly is the problem, that the internal customer is more important than the external customer, but we're the ones that pay the bills. And they already have my data. As you said, I should be able to authenticate and chat, and it would just speed up everything and not frustrate
Spot
me.
on.
So yeah, definitely I agree with you 100%. Sean, obviously I fully respect and appreciate what you can and can't say, but you mentioned some really big names there: Pinterest, Spotify, obviously Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Can you give us like any examples of what you're currently doing, like really exciting stuff? Like, can we get some snippets of news or?
Yeah. Probably one of my favorite examples is one of the Pinterest experiences we've built for Ted Baker, because it's actually running for the whole year.
Okay.
So as a quick summary, when you're within Pinterest, we will target with a promoted pin anyone that's showing a big interest in a wedding. So if you've just created, Brett's big day, and you
is that a proposal, Sean? Thank you, man.
This is a proposal. If you're adding pins around wedding decor and so on, it's highly likely that you're probably thinking of planning a wedding. And so we would target you with a promoted pin that will drive you out of Pinterest to a website that BlueRobot has built. And when you get to this website, it's really just 4 questions presented in a very visual quiz. You select an image as your answer, and it really asks you things like, what is your style? What would you wear? What are your initials? What's your partner's name? And then it drives you straight back into Pinterest. And what happens in that process is the user authorizes BlueRobot to create and maintain in this case, a Ted Baker board. And so that Ted Baker board is effectively a living, personalized microsite within Pinterest. And what happens is we generate in real time personalized content with your initials overlaid on top of the imagery, and we add additional pins to that on a weekly basis. Cool. But what's really exciting about it is that with one of the pins within that personal board actually prompts you to make a booking at Ted Baker weddings.
Ah, okay.
And
Nice.
We've driven a high volume, I can't say the number,
Sure.
but we've driven a high volume of users to Ted Baker to actually plan their wedding in real life and in the physical world.
Wow.
Now, Sean, it would be, we do have to wrap up pretty quickly, but I'm really keen to know a little bit about, both your use and the client's interest in the data that comes off the back end.
Yeah, good question. Good way to finish.
You've got the pre-selected inputs that the users can click on. You've also got the natural language capabilities. And, with what we can do now with natural language processing, to pull out patterns and then match those against the users and the data that they provide, either from a personal perspective or just, the anonymized data, understanding their gender, their age, the location, etc. What do you see a demand there, and is that being used, or is that something that's still a bit nascent and not quite at the forefront?
That's a great question. So I think that, brands are definitely, for the most part, not taking advantage of what the tech out there can do. And I think that is just they're managing risk. The word AI strikes fear into any big business.
Yeah.
But where we see the real sweet spot is, so as an example, something that we are working on is if a big, so for example, a e-learning institution knows that they typically deal with about 5 customer personas, and one of those personas could be a single mom in her mid-30s. So when she decides to engage with that institution, it's a big life step. She's looking at possibly a career change. It's risky. And then you take another persona like a millennial who mom and dad have said, you have to go get a degree so you have something behind you for life. And many of them are doing it reluctantly. So we can actually interrogate that user's social activity in real time as a beginner conversation, and actually deliver the same experience, but in a way that's personalized for that persona. So, for example, we would be quite formal with a middle-aged single mom who's looking to have make a life-changing decision, and would be quite informal and emoji-heavy in communicating with a millennial.
Yep.
Very cool. That's actually a great way to wrap it up. We always do run out of time on the show. We should actually speak to the producer about making it a 7-hour show, I think. Sean, thanks for getting up early there. I know in Cape Town that's really hard to do, especially because of what goes on in Cape Town the night before. But we do appreciate it, and looking forward to hopefully getting some of those awesome stuff down under this side.
Great. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Aryeh. Great to chat to you guys.
Chat soon, man. Well, that was great. I mean, it's always, it just goes too quickly, right? We're there. We're at the top of the hour. We're done. We dusted. We've dropped in and outbounds and robots and stuff and tech and AI and weather and even McDonald's.
Definitely. I think future topic. I think personalization and what's being done with data and what you should know.
Yep, I agree.
When you see an ad coming to you and you feel the creep factor 10, there's a science behind it, and you can control what is and isn't recorded and stored with or without your permission.
Yes. I'm just going to say yes.
Yes.
Well, I think that's it. So we're going to wrap it up.
That's it.
Cool. So until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode of The Technology Show. Remember, for more episodes, hop onto eaglewavesradio.com.au, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Catch you next time.